This is the second gen Syclone. It's LS swapped, it's all-wheel drive, and we just finished up installing a supercharger so we could take it to LS Fest and win the Grand Champion truck class. But unfortunately, we were not able to complete the competition because, well, I broke it. But the good news is we were able to get quite a bit of testing in, but it was no easy task just making it to LS Fest because before we even left Colorado, we had quite a few bugs that we had to work out.
Alrighty guys, over the last couple of weeks I have been working around the clock to get the second gen Syclone ready for LS Fest, and today, Tuesday, was the very first test drive. We have to leave on Wednesday, and of course we discovered a couple of problems, but thankfully we've already fixed them, I think. As you can see, the bed is up in the air. We had to pull the fuel pump out. That was a 340 liter per hour unit, just not big enough. So we put a 525 Hellcat pump in there using some leftover parts from the ugly truck. And I think we are dialed in. We had a massive fuel pressure drop, but the 525 should solve that. As you can see, it's sitting there running, just doing a final leak check. So we're going for a couple of test drives. Tomorrow I'm going to load up and we're hitting the road. We're going to LS Fest, where the second gen Syclone is going to kick some butt. All right, we're unloaded. We're facing some wind today, but I got a good feeling about this. It's gonna be great. So we get it lined up where we want it, okay? Okay, Rod, do you like that direction or should we flip it? You don't want to flip it? Yeah. Alright, I guess we like it. Alright, so kind of mentally stressing right now because one, I just saw these pine needles that are in the front, which this truck was parked under a pine tree before I bought it, but that's not the point. The point is we're drag racing. We literally just got here, just got unloaded. Normally I have my laptop set up, I'm data logging, don't have time to do that. So this is sort of like, this is a leap of faith and it's driving me mentally crazy, so we'll see what happens.
My goal for the Syclone is for it to run the quarter mile in the 11-second range, which is totally doable given the potential power and weight of this truck. But unfortunately, we have the largest pulley installed on the supercharger, which means it's going to be making the least amount of boost possible, which, given the altitude in Las Vegas, works out to about 11.5 pounds of boost.
Okay, so first run's in the books, definitely not as impressive as I would have hoped, but it does show promise. It was definitely very, very rich, so I'm going to grab the laptop and I'm going to try to make some adjustments. But just for reference, so we ran a 12.3 at 110. COPO truck, it did at best of 12.17, so we're not far off of that, but it took like 16 pounds of boost for COPO truck to make that happen, where 10 or 11. So we'll make some tweaks, maybe raise the shift points, play with fueling a little bit. Maybe we get this thing just 11 something. I think that would be pretty awesome. All right, guys, we're riding a tune in the staging lanes. It's kind of a Hail Mary, but at least we can data log this time. All right, guys, watch me gap this Corvette.
One unexpected thing that I found after reviewing the data log for the second drag strip run was just how hot the inlet air temperatures got before we even made our pass. After about 15 minutes of sitting in the staging lanes, the IATs reached about 190 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just too hot. Now thankfully, during the quarter-mile run, they didn't rise all that much, but I really need to put some fans in the system or redesign it so we can start at like 105 or 110 degrees rather than closer to 200.
Thank you. A little quicker.
Why I love going to LS Fest West and competing in the Grand Champion class is because it allows you to compete in basically every type of automotive performance driving that there is.
No idea where I'm going. Didn't have time to walk the course.
Now this is perfect for a quote-unquote pro touring style build like the second gen Syclone, because we get to do drag racing, we get to go on a road course like you see here, we get to do a speed stop challenge, which is my absolute favorite, and then finally we get to do autocross, which admittedly is my least favorite of the four style of events. Now I spend the most time drag racing with all of my project trucks, but the road course I think is a whole lot of fun because it's not just driving in a straight line. You have to practice quartering and braking. You have to manage the dynamics of the vehicle. It's just a whole lot of fun. And even though I don't get to do it a whole lot, I think this is probably my top event.
All right, that's a lap. Weirdly enough, IATs ended up colder than they started last night at the drag strip. Not a bad run. Second run for the track cross, autocross, whatever we want to call it. They put these live update thingies on here. Our first run was a 63 seconds, which was at the time 4th place. A bunch of people ran and bumped me way down. But we're now back to 6th place and we have a 59 second run. So that's 4.7 something seconds we shaved off. Not bad. Definitely using the rear anti-roll bar. The thing kind of does that all over the place, but we're off to a good start. I'm happy. Much happier today than I was yesterday. Even quicker, but everyone else is getting quicker too. We got a 57. Not bad. So the $1 million question now is, what direction do I go from here? Because you guys know me, I like building. I love driving, but building is more fun. Do I continue with the pro touring all around theme? Do I go all out drag? The one thing I have said I do not want to do is I do not want to put stuff in the bed, like heat exchangers and radiators and fuel tanks, but I almost think I have to. I think this truck needs to become a little bit more all-out racy if I really want to show the potential of it. So I got some thinking to do. But so far, like, we got the truck done on Monday night. Yeah, it's doing great. I can't complain too much. right, so this event is probably my least favorite just because I have the least amount of experience at it, and there's a little extra amount of difficulty just because you've got to remember your way kind of through the cones. There's no lines that say where to go. So it's a driving game, it's a mental game, it's balancing power and braking and all that good stuff. A couple years ago when we were here with the COPO truck, that was the worst event for COPO truck just because it was so heavy and I had like regular old street truck tires. But this S10 should be a little bit better equipped, so let's get out there and see how we do.
With the V8 power and the full-time all-wheel drive system, the second-gen Syclone rocketed it off the line through the slalom, and we made the turn down the back straight. And I thought we were going to do really awesome right out of the gate. I was very, very confident until we hit this cone right here. This is the one that hung me up. I took the wrong way around it, and I got completely lost. And we had a little bit of adult language that we're going to mute for the kids, but needless to say, we aborted our first run. The second run was off to a similar start, but again, I hit that one cone on the back straightaway, got a little bit sideways there, and yep, we made a wrong U-turn around the first cone. I don't know why I couldn't figure this out, but this time I thought everything was great, so I just kind of continued through the course and finished it up, but I got DQ'd on this run because, again, I missed a complete gate. Now, it might have been due in part to Soulja Boy that was cranking in the background, but you're not going to believe this. On my third and final run for the day, once again.
There we go. I think that's the line. Nope, probably not. Dang it.
All three runs on day one of autocross disqualified. So that was a pretty miserable attempt at navigating my way through an autocross course. But after the three runs, the Grand Champion class was done for the day. And so I went over to the drag strip just to watch a little action. That's where I ran into my buddy Brent Wassum and his extremely fast extended cab Silverado. Now this thing will run mid-8s all day long, and in fact he was on track to win the drag and drive class at LS Fest West. But unfortunately, like myself, he got DQ'd. But not only that, he ran into some interesting mechanical issues, which I'm going to throw in here so you guys can check it out, because this truck is just awesome.
All right, so we got DQ'd out of our class today. We went 8.7, 8.8, and a 9.0 on our drag and drive. Got to do 3 back-to-back consecutive quarter miles. But they let me still do the passes. The only reason I got DQ'd is because I took a jump start. It died on me between the runs. So I took a jump start, which on a drag and drive, you can't do that. So we decided to go have some fun, take the buddies out for a run. We put the turbo guard on the front of the turbo, which doesn't look like a turbo anymore. And it sucked in the whole turbo guard.
Oh yeah, I see a nice pile of
metal.
Pile of something.
There's metal and all kinds of stuff. So as a precaution, the engine still runs fine. We didn't hurt the motor, but we hurt the turbo. They're not supposed to look like that. But
was
anyway,
it worth it?
Hey, you know what? You play in this game and you do stupid things, and it was one of those things I didn't put the clamp on, you know what I mean? I didn't put the hose clamp on. I figured it'll be fine. It just sucked it right in on getting on the freeway. Here it comes right now. Let's not spill this water in here. All right, so let's see what we got. First, we're gonna empty out the intercooler water. Tip it upside down. There's some wire mesh. I'm worried some of that made it through.
So a lot of that's rubber, luckily. There's a couple of wires.
Yep.
Here. Oh, jeez.
There's a lot of bits that probably made it into that motor, huh?
Well.
Oh shit, I just soaked my shoe. All right.
Brent, the good news is your intercooler sort of acts like a filter.
Kind of.
I don't see anything down there.
Well, if it did, it's already in and out and gone.
Yeah. I think most of everything that would have gone through would have been just the rubber.
I hope. Those little, I'm worried there might be some of those little,
You see anything down here?
that's what I'm gonna look for. You think any of those guys would have made it
No,
through?
look how fine that is. And that's, what, 2 inches thick? It's 3 inches?
It's a Garrett core that shear fat puts in them.
No, I don't think anything made it through, man.
Oh, well.
Because that, like, there's not even like residue in here.
Shake that out, but don't drop it. That's expensive.
All right, so day 2 for autocross. I really got to figure this out. And this is the corner where I always mess up. So we start down there, go along the fence. That's long straightaway, little slalom left-hander. What I've been doing is kind of heading that way, and I always thought I was missing that corner, but I think I'm supposed to go down there to that green cone. Definitely confusing, but maybe if I remember that this time I'll do better, so I can accelerate a little more, because I've been taking like a U-turn through there, going in the middle. And it doesn't help that there's like all these drift marks, paint lines from other stuff, but that's the corner that I keep messing up right here. So I need to remember this cone.
So I believe that is going to wrap us up in our 5.
Believe it or not, I actually did that same exact course walkthrough the previous morning. So I don't know why I was unable to just remember that one cone. But on day 2 of autocross, I had the course locked in, I had it memorized, and I did not miss a single gate all day long. So from this point forward, it was just a matter of perfecting the line and making the truck go as fast as I possibly could. The first run that you see here was a 52.9 second run, and then the following 2 were a 52.6 and then a 52.4. So each time we got just a little bit quicker, which overall for autocross, we were in 15th place out of all the trucks, which I guess is not bad considering this is the worst event. And for now, the truck was still running pretty good, but we still do have some pretty big issues that we're going to pop up.
I will be happy if I just hit every gate like I should have.
After 6 back-to-back runs at the autocross and then a few hot laps the day before on the road course, it became quickly apparent that this truck's front suspension desperately needed some attention when we get back to the shop. On a couple of those quick transitions, you could even see the inside front tire lifting off the ground, and then the outside tire was cambered heavily outward, which definitely started wearing into the tires. In fact, it was kind of borderline cutting the tread apart. But one more thing that was actually contributing to that damage was the metal lip on the inside of the fender well. So we did a quick roadside repair. We got the inner fender lip kind of rolled out of the way so it would no longer cut the tire.
All right, makeshift hammer, here we go.
There's nothing I could do about the suspension geometry today, but at least now the truck would be ready for the road course and then finally the speed stop challenge the next day. After I rolled both of the fenders and reinstalled the front wheels, we headed back across the street to the road course where the Grand Champion class was finishing up its Saturday afternoon competition. At the previous session, I was able to do a best lap time of 57.9 seconds in the second gen Syclone, but I feel like we could have done just a little bit quicker. So the first lap of the second session, I let it all hang out. I put every ounce of driving skill I could muster into this thing, and somehow the truck, despite its poor suspension geometry and cut up front tires, managed to do just a little bit better, and we got us a 57.3 second lap, which was 0.6 of a second quicker. But there was just something about the powertrain that seemed a little bit off on that lap. One thing that's important to know about the powertrain in the Syclone is both the engine and transmission came straight out of the junkyard before I installed them in the truck, and I never opened up either of them, so the condition is honestly unknown. And looking back, it might have been a little bit foolish to supercharge the powertrain and then go out to a competition with almost zero testing.
Alrighty guys, Sunday morning, and this is my absolute favorite event. It's called Speed Stop or Speed Steer Stop, whatever you want to call it. The concept is simple. It's a U-shaped drag race. You start in the box, go down the straightaway, you do a U-turn, don't hit the cones, stop in the box without hitting the cones at the other end. When I was here with COPO Truck a couple of years back, COPO Truck actually won this event out of all the trucks by a slim margin. In fact, that Blazer right there, that's the one that I was fighting with. So maybe we'll have similar luck today, maybe not. But either way, this is like my favorite event, so I'm pumped.
If you're gonna win a speed stop challenge, there are 3 things that you're gonna need. 1, lots of traction. 2, instant power and torque. And 3, perhaps the most important, you need consistency. Now, the Syclone has plenty of traction and it has plenty of power, and on the first round, I knew we had potential. As I approached the first U-turn, I was a little bit conservative because it was my first lap, and then we took off down the back straight towards the stop box, and I did hit the brakes just a little bit early, but I wasn't too worried about it because I knew I had more than one attempt to take this thing home. So we drove across and lined up to begin the B side of the lap, and I knew we had this thing in the bag. I floorboarded it, the Syclone spun all 4 wheels, and it rocketed away from the start box. And then as soon as the transmission went to shift into second gear, we had a whole lot of nothing. So I made the U-turn and I tried to accelerate out, but it was the same thing. It downshifted to first, so we took off a little bit, but then when it tried to shift into second, there was nobody home.
All right, guys, some of you called this in the comments. I recall a few people mentioning the stock transmission that we have attached to this supercharged 5.3. It might be letting us down. The very first run that we did in the right lane was 18 seconds and 0.1 and a couple of hundredths, which so far, not everybody's ran, but so far was the single fastest lap of one lane. But unfortunately, they combine the 2 times between left lane and right lane and add it up, which combined is 40 seconds, which right now puts me in 6th place. Basically what happened on the second lane, when it started to shift to second gear, just kind of went to neutral. So we're gonna let it cool down a little bit. We're gonna try our second lap, and hopefully by some miracle, I can get 2 consecutive clean runs in a row, because again, you get to go right lane then left lane and add the 2 times together. We might be out, but like I said, the one saving grace that we have, this is my favorite competition. I won it 2 or 3 years ago with COPO Truck. So far, anyway, we have the single fastest single lap. So we'll take it. Drive the truck on the trailer. The bad news is the only thing we won today was the opportunity to build a transmission. This was a last minute thing coming to the event, not in planning for it, but last minute in the sense that we were working right up until the last minute. So it performed as expected. I mean, the supercharger worked great, the all-wheel drive worked great, the transmission obviously did not. So a couple things that we need to fix. One, the big one is the transmission. 2, the second big one is the IAT situation with the heat exchanger. But I think a couple of good fans will help stop it from heat soaking in the pits. Speaking of drag racing in the pits, I believe we have planned on taking this truck on Mega Week, which starts in about a month. So the second countdown is on to get some corrections made to this truck. A few other minor things we'll tweak at some point whenever we come back to do an autocross front suspension geometry. Definitely needs some attention, but overall, I'm really happy we came. I love coming to events like this. It's, you know, it makes all that time in the shop worth it, being able to get out and do stuff. So, as they say, more horsepower is just the beginning. And this right here, guys, is really awesome because I've nicknamed my truck the 2nd gen Syclone because of the truck just like this. This is an OG Syclone. And it appears to be a real one that has been LS swapped, but look at that. We even have hood vents, but this is so cool, guys. And I saw this truck earlier. I don't have a video of it, but this thing rips. It's like mid 5s in the 8th, I believe.